Welcome to our first ever live fantasy football draft 2023 underdog style with the guru, myself, and our Mackey. Ryan Mackey, welcome in from the committee. One half. How are you?
Doing great. It is awesome to once again be here in front of our fantasy football community. It's once again happy early 4th of July. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready to launch off fireworks, but what better way to get ready for this fantasy season right before 4th of July than with you, my friend, a guy that I've been playing fantasy football with since 2007. And now we're literally about to do our first live underdog fantasy draft to help all of you win your first of many championships.
We want you to learn from our mistakes. We want you to learn from our secrets. We want you to learn from our tips. We want you to learn from our underpits. Anything you want to learn from, you can learn from us. Yesterday, we had our first ever ESPN mock draft, Ryan, live. And if anyone wants to go check that out, please do. It's in our account, our YouTube account. We're only streaming on YouTube, but how was that experience, Ryan, yesterday? And as we're about to dive into this draft, because it just filled up. Oh my goodness! Draft starts in 1 minute. But how was it yesterday?
It was great. It was definitely experience doing our first one to get that out of the way. I think the nerves are pretty shot now. I think that we'll go into this draft a lot more calmer. I don't think I'll be auto picking the New England defense, and I don't see you selecting Robert Woods like yesterday.
Fun fact before you continue, you were 8th yesterday and you're 8th today.
Oh God. I love helping people draft in the back end of the draft. What pick are you at?
I'm 2 before you, so I'm 6.
Oh, I see. You're at 6. Okay.
Also, if anybody's watching this live, in the future, I think it'll be good to watch Ryan and I if we do make mistakes doing underdog drafting, and this is a new format for us. It's still 12-man league, but it's 0.5 PPR and it's 3 receivers instead of 2. Everything else is pretty much the same. 10 bench.
Yep.
As we begin here, 30-second countdown. Raw 93-068 is live.
So Guru, who are you targeting at 6? Who's somebody that you're eyeing in on with that pick?
Just from the ADP rankings that Underdog has, which is so different than ESPN, some similarities. There's probably going to be a lot of Cooper Kupps, Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown. I might be biased, and I might just go AJ Brown and just have him as my number 1 wide receiver. Again, I think you and we talked about it yesterday, are super high on Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
And Justin Jefferson goes off the board, Ryan. How do you feel about that? Is that just you have to?
I think it's the safest pick. I think he's the safest receiver to take at number 1 since Antonio Brown. It just seems to be that he's getting better. His touchdowns were a little bit down last year, but this is a guy that's been averaging 1,600 yards per season in his career. And I think he has the highest floor, and I think that he has an outstanding ceiling. He's a guy that can single-handedly win you your weeks.
Yeah. Good point. And Cooper Kupp just goes off at 3, which just shows you that, I mean, they skip over Christian McCaffrey. This just shows you the 3 wide receiver, how that changes everything. I'm coming up soon. Christian McCaffrey goes, of course. So who's available? Tyreek Hill, of course, goes off. So Travis Kelce is nowhere on my draft at all. I will never look at him ever.
Never.
No offense to anybody that does pick him. We have 20 seconds left. So it really comes down to a receiver. And it's either Stephon Diggs or AJ Brown. Austin Eckler may be the guy. I just don't know. I think AJ Brown would be the safest pick to go here. So I will. Okay, awesome. That was scary. So when you click on it, Ryan, this is just for anybody new to this too as well. It'll click on their name, and it won't draft them. You have to kind of scroll down and click draft.
Got it.
After your player. So AJ Brown goes after Tyreek Hill, then Travis Kelce, which I guess is a no-brainer for some people. Right, Mackey's on. So who are you looking at right here? Devontae Adams is ranked pretty low here, which is crazy. I don't know if you're thinking Stephon Diggs, but
I'm trying to draft Austin Eckler, and it is choking for me.
Almost there. Oh, click draft. Oh, you just had it. Oh God, it's gonna auto pick for you, Ryan.
Well,
you had it said draft. So like when you click on their name,
Yeah, I see it. This is the first time I'm using. I don't mind drafting Stephon Diggs by any
Yeah,
means.
of
Um,
course.
I
You
would
don't want this to happen when it's like New England Patriots. Yeah,
I would have taken Eckler there, but this is my first time, well, our first time using Underdog Fantasy, so I'm kind of getting the hang of it.
yeah.
But I would have taken Austin Eckler there. This is kind of like a first timer for me because I'm hoping. Let's just hope somebody like a decent running back falls to me in the second round. I expect.
Is that what you're thinking there? That's why you go with Austin there?
Yeah, I think that Austin Eckler. I mean, he was the number one PPR running back last year. I can't see how he doesn't follow up this season with another 70 to 100 catches, and that's basically PPR gold. But the thing about this draft, and there's going to be a lot of leagues that you participate in where they have those 3 wide receivers. So I think this is a good experience for everybody to say, hey, you know what? Let's get that wide receiver position out of the way. And why not get somebody like a Stephon Diggs who has Josh Allen, one of the best pure passers in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, we did our rankings on wide receivers, and Stephon Diggs. It just seems like him and Josh, they're only get more familiar together, and he puts up the numbers. You can't deny that the numbers aren't there, right? You can't.
For sure.
You had him both last year.
So I should be targeting a running back here, just because I don't want to, and I don't want to miss up. I don't want to pass up on a running back. I will be on the clock pretty shortly. I would have liked to see Devontae Adams fall there. That would have been a nice little.
Yeah. Nick Chubb is there though, so that's where you're probably leaning.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards Nick Chubb. I'm a lot higher on Nick Chubb this season because he's going to be playing obviously a full season with Deshaun Watson, and I'm sad to see that he's not on the board. So right now, I'm basically deciding between Saquon Barkley and Chris Olave.
Seriously? Okay.
Actually, Jonathan Taylor is there.
10 seconds. This is hard. It's hard drafting here. 5 seconds.
So I took Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
The reason is because I don't like the fact that Saquon Barkley is heading into, he's holding out right now, and he did have a lot of touches. He sustained a lot of touches, throughout his career. I don't think that we'll ever see the rookie Saquon Barkley again, but last year was a very good version of him. He had over 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, and now he gets year 2 with Brian Dable, but don't love his contract situation, and I
went with Saquon because, I think what's available and knowing that the average, like this is what I'm thinking too as well. And sorry to cut you off, Ryan.
No,
but as it segues into this, like 80, what I'm learning about just quickly about Underdog is like ADP is everything right now because it's this is why I like it a little bit better than ESPN because you can't deny ADP. So what it tells you that most people are going to draft this guy here. So if Saquon is going here and I reach for somebody else, like say for example, I get Jalen or Josh Jacobs or somebody else, it's just out of the value isn't there. So this is like almost like ideally where he'll go, and I don't mind having Saquon Barkley if they do work out their contract, him with AJ Brown. I was thinking about going Devontae Smith. I've never done something crazy like that with like a double stack wide receiver on the same team, but I think that would be. You think that's crazy, right? That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends where you draft. You could do the double. You could do double wide receivers, double running backs. I don't hate Saquon. I just don't love his contract situation. But I do like the fact that the offense runs through him. I like that the offense is improving around Daniel Jones. Like a reminder, Daniel Jones finished the league he was the 33rd ranked quarterback in yards per game for passing. So now you add Darren Waller, you're going to create more red zone opportunities for Saquon Barkley. I love it. It just feels like he's on the downside of his career to me personally.
Yeah. As I adjust our draft board, it's pretty cool. I made it bigger and then it looks a lot better. Yeah.
But I don't hate Saquon because I know the Giants are going to remain competitive. I do love the fact that Brian Dable has really put life into that team. I mean, the Giants were miserable to watch for a while, but now, head coach, there's just improvement all around. You're even starting to see their defense improve. And that's why they made, that playoff run getting dominated by your Eagles. But speaking of the Eagles, you're back on the clock. So who are you targeting here?
Oh my God, thank you, Ryan. Hold on 1 second. I will have to go with Calvin Ridley. I mean, it's so perfect that he's just right here. Kind of just. This is why I like being so high on Calvin Ridley, is because like nobody else really cares about him. And if you could get him in the third round, I think he's the number one wide receiver
for sure.
I think even like worst case scenario, he should be going in the second round. Here you're up right here. You have a running back and you have a wide receiver, Ryan. I don't know if you want to maintain that balance. You want to do something crazy. I think knowing that it's a 3 wide receiver, a lot of people are just going wide receivers in this situation.
I'm going with my guy. I mean, this guy helped me win a championship last year.
Who's this?
Amari Cooper.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I love Amari. I know he's getting a little bit older, but now you get the full you get the full off season with Deshaun Watson. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, he had a short sample size last year, didn't play so great. But the Browns are on the rise. I expect Deshaun Watson to ball out this year. I like the fact that they added Elijah Moore to take some pressure off of Amari Cooper. But let's not forget, Amari Cooper, no matter how old he is, this guy's one of the best route runners in the league. And I think that he has a chance to be easily a 1,300 to 1,500 yard, 10 touchdown wide receiver with Deshaun Watson in a full season. I mean, this guy, Amari, I know Dallas is literally kicking themselves for trading Amari Cooper for literally like a bag of hot fries. Like they didn't give anything for him, but now Amari Cooper's proving that he's still that number one and he's still that dude.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's just one of those situations where you don't know if he's on the decline of his career or how is Deshaun Watson going to do, but I like it. I think it's a good pick. I think last year he showed that he could still get it done. And like, I know he not carried, but there were certain moments in throughout the season last year for you that he put up points when you needed it. And I remember this one touchdown that stands out the most in the corner, I don't know, in the right corner end zone, and he just caught it. And I was just like, that was Amari Cooper? And like, it was like the end of the game. It was crazy. I don't know if you remember that.
Let's not to forget that. Yeah, it was. I think it was in the Bills game where he did that like double toe tap. Jacoby Brissett threw a beautiful ball. He didn't throw many beautiful balls last year for Amari, but they had this thing going, and Amari Cooper made highlight reel after highlight reel on a Browns offense that just wasn't very good. But now he gets that second opportunity. And I'm excited to see what he could do. And yes, Chris, he actually scored 29 points in my fantasy championship league, which I love.
Yeah, and you're right up on the clock right now. Go ahead, Ryan.
So right here, this is more of a stability pick. I don't love the player, but I love the balance that he brings. I feel like I could be a little bit strong at the running back position. So I'm actually going to take Joe Mixon right here.
Oh, that's a good pick. And I'm high on Joe this year. Yeah, especially where he's going. Yeah, go ahead.
I like Joe Mixon because, again, he's still part of the one of the best offenses in the NFL. Obviously, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. There's a lot to like. The Bengals actually also added Irv Smith Jr. To replace Hayden Hurst at tight end. So more offensive firepower. The one thing I love about Mixon this year, not only is he on a top 5 offense, but Samaje Perine just signed with the Broncos. So now there's really nobody to challenge Joe Mixon. And I think that he's the safest pick that you could pretty much do there in the 4th round.
I just went with Jahmyr Gibbs.
I like him.
It was Travis Etienne and him. I have a good balance on my team right now. I think I could catch another flex or the third receiver coming up now because right now we're going to start losing running back value very soon.
Are you afraid at all of David Montgomery?
Yeah,
when drafting a guy like Gibbs.
A little bit. It just, you got to go with like, first of all, upside. And if the Lions drafted this guy, and obviously Jamal Williams isn't really
they drafted this man high. They chose, like you said, they chose not to resign Jamal Williams, who scored 17 touchdowns last year.
Yeah,
and now Dan Campbell coming from New Orleans, I feel like they are trying to use Gibbs like the next Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, and we kind of saw how they used DeAndre Swift. I think they just needed more. They needed health. They need him to be on the field. last year, and that offense, which if you watched our mock draft yesterday, Ryan picked Jared Goff, I think in the 15th round, and I think it's such a sneaky steal because the Lions, and I love Jared Goff. It was one of those picks that he went under the radar at the end of the season, and when you looked at his stats, he was top 5 or top 7 or 5 in terms of quarterbacks. Quarterback rankings last year, which is insane. Nobody would ever say that,
Right. From weeks 10 to 17, Jared Goff was a top 8 quarterback, and nobody would expect that. But look what Dan Campbell's doing with that Lions offense. And now the one thing that concerns me a little bit is that Jameson Williams is going to be suspended for 6 games, but even more targets for Amon St. Brown. I like what they'll do with Jahmyr Gibbs in the running game, like you said. And there's a lot to like in Detroit. And we were talking about this yesterday, but the NFC North, from a fantasy standpoint, has the most favorable schedule in the league.
How do you not drive Travis Etienne here?
That's a beautiful pick.
I don't know how you don't, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to, right?
I mean, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And we're talking, I don't know. To get Travis Etienne in the 5th round, that's just a complete steal. I don't think I've ever seen that in any mock draft that I've done, but since this is like very wide receiver heavy, I completely get it. I'm drafting this position out of love because I don't really love the wide receivers that are on the board right now.
So that's why you can.
So let me see.
You're thinking Ayuk like last year? I mean, last week?
No, I'm not going to take Ayuk. I'm going to take, we were talking about NFC North having the most favorable schedule.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Aaron Jones will give me this stability because the Packers have the easiest schedule in fantasy in terms of opposing defenses. So stock up for Aaron Jones, stock up for Jordan Love, who I don't think anybody is going to be drafting next year, but somebody that if you're thinking about Christian Watson, who basically broke out last year. I like the Packer players. I like drafting Minnesota Bears. We've been talking about the NFC North talent, and I'm not going to shy away from a guy like Aaron Jones. I know everybody's going crazy at wide receiver right now because it is a 3 wide receiver league, but I like the stability at running back, especially for a flex.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good little fun fact about Green Bay having one of the weakest running back schedules. I like that. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I mean, think about this. Jordan Love, nobody really knows what to expect out of him, but the Packers, they're not blinking an eye. They're saying Jordan Love is our QB1. They obviously decided to trade Aaron Rodgers. And the Packers' history, I know that it's hard to compare anyone to a Brett Favre or an Aaron Rodgers or a Bart Starr, but the Packers just have success at quarterback, and there's no doubt in my mind that Jordan Love will have a chance to be great this season. We'll just see if he could prove it on the field.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's watching. There's a couple storylines like that, Jordan Love and even rookies coming in. I've been looking at. Obviously, I'm a big Panthers. I've been looking at the Panthers. I can't remember.
Do you work for the Panthers? I'm trying to figure this out. Like
every year I pick one team that just pops on my radar, and I have no choice but to wait. Is it my turn? Did I drop? No, my bad.
No, you're not up yet.
Okay.
It's on the back end. So I'm actually targeting a player. I'm hoping that he doesn't go. I will be on the clock next. I'm hoping to get Chris Godwin here. So with Chris Godwin, of course, Chris Godwin goes. I don't love my situation right now. I have to. Oh, this is such a bad situation to be in. Okay, so I have to go wide receiver here because this is a 3 wide receiver draft. So I'm starting to love this player more and more. And I just drafted Jahan Dotson. I really like Terry McLaurin. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the most skilled wide receivers. I would love to see Terry McLaurin with like a much better quarterback. Yeah. But I like Jahan Dotson because he's coming along as a guy that just knows how to find the end zone. His touchdown to reception rate was one of the highest in the league last year. And this guy just knows, he has an knack for finding the end zone. And Chris, you took him late in the draft last year, and he ended up paying dividends, especially if people made it to the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, he is. I have 10 seconds to pick, Ryan, so I'm trying not
to. Go ahead.
You know, you got me on Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Yesterday, and I don't mind it at all. If he's going to be my third wide receiver, so I'm going to go with that guy. I believe in him. I love his route running skills. He's still young. The Giants didn't want him, and I think Patty Mahomes just if he just keeps playing the way he did, and especially in the playoffs, Kadarius Toney, you know, yeah, I think he had 2 touchdowns. Did he in the Super Bowl?
He scored 1 because Sky Moore scored, but I think Kadarius Toney, he had a big reception, and he scored late when he did that double move, and
yes,
had that uncontested touchdown late in the game.
Yeah,
but it was nice to see Patrick Mahomes taking a chance on a guy that they basically got mid-season and throwing to him when the game was on the line. I don't understand how people are so down. I've seen a lot of fantasy analysts say, "Oh, don't draft Kadarius Toney. Don't waste your time." Well, why not? Travis Kelce enters this year at 34 years old. You need a true number one after Juju Smith-Schuster, who's not really a number one, went to New England. I mean, the targets are going to be there. We know that Patrick Mahomes likes to spread the ball. He's not going to throw to Travis Kelce 50 times a game. So if you're taking a risk, around the 7th, 8th round, why not go after a guy like Kadarius Toney? I could have went Kadarius Toney too. I decided to go with Jahan Dotson because of volume. I know that Patrick Mahomes, he finds these guys like Jerick McKinnon, gets into the offense, and he just likes to spread the ball around. So I think that more targets will go Jahan Dotson's way. But I like the upside of Kadarius Toney. It's hard to stay away from a player like that with all that, that skill.
So right now, I think you and I both we filled in our running backs, we filled in our receivers. Should we start thinking about quarterbacks, who's available? I think that's what I'm going to try, because right now there isn't a lot going on. I do like Aaron Rodgers. I know Jared Goff is still there, Aaron Rodgers is still there. Deshaun Watson, I think, could be really an easy pick for me.
Oh God, I was trying to stack up a
I know you were, but like I can't not go, especially where his ADP is, and his ceiling is higher than obviously last year. He took him a while. I had Deshaun Watson last year. I had to watch that. Oh my God, that struggle until he kind of got into some flow. It was still rough last year. He was like averaging like 1 touchdown a game.
You're probably going to love this pick. I'm not going to go quarterback because you just disappointed me and took
Tua is there.
I was trying. I know, but I think Tua is somebody that you wait on and try to steal late. Yeah. But I think at this point, getting Darren Waller will be a huge get, because I think that Waller could finish easily as a top 4, top 3, possibly the number 1 tight end in fantasy that next year. Well, maybe not number 1 because Travis. I got Waller. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, he's going late.
Yeah, Waller is going super late. It's a little bit weird. Waller usually goes around like the 5th or 6th round on ESPN in different drafts, but this draft favors wide receivers. So I decided I'll just take a quarterback late, go with Darren Waller, who I think could be a top 5 tight end, and just to give my lineup a little bit more balance.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. I can't believe Waller was there, and I missed that. I would have preferred Waller over.
Well,
Watson.
I mean, you stole Deshaun Watson from me.
Yeah.
So I was definitely going Deshaun Watson right there. But
does that mess with your Dalton Schultz idea or anything? Or
I like the Dalton Schultz idea, but again, this is just a 3 wide receiver draft. I've never played in a 3 wide receiver fantasy league, but I'm sure a lot of people do, especially when you have that 1 flex or 2 flex position. So you could substitute that. But yes, I will be targeting Dalton Schultz in a lot of drafts this year, just because we talked about it yesterday. Rookie quarterback is going to look for a veteran tight end, and there's not much going on in Houston at the wide receiver position. Yeah. So they're going to run the ball, a lot of Dameon Pierce, a lot of Devin Singletary. But I expect a guy like Dalton Schultz to possibly lead the team in receiving yards next year.
Yeah, I don't. Oh my God. I mean, it's possible. It is Houston.
Yeah, I mean, they traded Brandon Cooks. There's just not a lot of guys.
Yeah, speaking of Brandon Cooks, he's up right now. You're up on the clock. All right, with 10 seconds left.
Oh my.
So I know you just went tight end. Yeah.
So I have no choice but to take Tua here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably what you're leaning on. Did you pick?
I picked Tua.
Okay, nice.
So I kind of wanted to wait for later to pick Tua, but I didn't want to be stuck with the lower tiered quarterbacks. Again, Jared Goff is a guy that's pretty high on my radar, but
yeah.
I expect the Dolphins to be a top 10 offense next year, and Guru, you're on the clock.
Yep. I'm thinking between Brandon Cooks. I'm never looking at I'm gonna go Brandon Cooks. I know he's his size, but if it's Dallas and double team all day for Lamb, or even they're gonna game plan for Lamb, I think Cooks is over the top. Dak can let it rip. I don't think Dak is as bad as a quarterback as everybody makes him out to be.
No, and for
sure. From an Eagles fan, a tired Eagles fan. So, no, I think Cooks is a decent pick, especially as a bench wide receiver. And like you said just now, like you need 3 wide receivers. And I don't know if you knew about underdog. I was reading the rules. Is that, and as you come up, I think you're almost up, Ryan. They do cumulative, so it's like however many points your whole team, like whoever the high scoring player has, they use. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean like your starting lineup,
right?
Which is pretty cool. And then they add up your cumulative points throughout the year, and then they pick who wins. So
I like that. That's different for anybody that's interested. I was forgetting who Houston's number 1 wide receiver is, and right now it's Nico Collins.
Yeah, just so I was high on Nico 2 years ago, and I'm still not. I'm not high on him anymore.
I think Nico Collins was my most dropped added player in fantasy last year.
You went through what I went through, yeah.
I was just trying to see, like, hey, does this guy? He's got such a big body, such a big target, especially for a rookie quarterback like Barrett. But he hasn't really put his it all together yet. So we'll see. I wasn't next, silly. You got me all scared. I'm like, wait a minute, am I on the clock again? You're actually on the clock because it's toward. Well, you got a couple picks away. But okay. Who are you targeting here?
1, 2. Oh, okay. My screen is off right now. Okay. Hold on. Let me fix my stuff. Get my life together.
Let me fix myself.
Yeah. Because
you got any love for Michael Thomas anymore, or has that ship sailed?
Michael Thomas doesn't even register in my mind.
Finally, I've been trying to convince you for years to let go. Like, get off the boat, jump off ship, go get a life raft because this dude's ankles are done.
Okay, so this is we're almost there for me. I can't believe it, but Alvin Kamara's obviously, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's the best. He's for sure the best player on the board.
Evan Ingram is a good pick too. Antonio Gibson, so sad what's become of him. I think Alvin Kamara would be so juicy, and I see Odell there. But I think Alvin Kamara would be really low key, especially in the later rounds. If it is like week 7, week 8, I could win leagues based on that.
He is facing a possible suspension, but I wouldn't be too scared about that because I think New Orleans wins that division. They know they have to run the football and put it in one of their best playmakers' hands. Now I need a wide receiver here because my third wide receiver is Jahan Dotson, taking a little bit of risk because of the age, because of the injury history, but I think that he's the best wide receiver available. I took Odell.
I don't see that's exactly what I was going to go for, but he was not going to survive. Dak is actually available.
He is insane. Yes, there's not much love for Dak Prescott this year, and it could be his last season as a Cowboy. So very interesting. The fact that Dallas got rid of Kellen Moore, and Dallas has had a top 10 scoring offense for the past couple of years since Moore was offensive coordinator. Now Mike McCarthy wants to run the ball more, and he had that quote in. I was watching a Mike McCarthy presser, and he says, Kellen Moore wanted to blow up the scoreboard. I want to keep my defense rested. So what do you think that does for a guy like Dak Prescott?
Oh, I mean, it gives, first of all, it gives him like he doesn't have to put everything on his shoulders. I think
Right.
that's the start. And he doesn't have to carry the team. It doesn't have to be a fast-paced offense. It can just be a nice, methodical drives. And I think that just it better suits Dak. You know, you don't want him to get too overwhelmed. I think it's a better place. And Mike McCarthy likes that because he knows that Dak isn't Aaron Rodgers, right? I think he obviously knows that. And he wants to cater to. You have to cater, like that's why I like the Patriots so much. They cater to what they have, right? Like they maximize. Ooh, Ryan Mackey's on the clock.
So since this is like a wide receiver heavy draft, and you need 3, you're going to need about a solid 5 guys that could play. I'm going to take a chance here. So I went Sky Moore. Now, the reason why I went Sky Moore is because Andy Reid drafted him. You don't really know who's going to be the number 1 receiver. I know all signs are pointing to a guy like Kadarius Toney, but Andy Reid, this is going to be Sky Moore's third year. So normally draft picks they tend to take that next step. Sky Moore could be entering the season as wide receiver 2. With, like we said, the departure of Juju Smith-Schuster. He has a good chance as any. The skill set is there. You saw him making plays throughout the season. They use him sometimes as a gadget player, but I'll take a chance on any Kansas City wide receiver and hope for the best, just like you did in your draft, Guru.
Yeah. It's Patty Mahomes. It's like you don't really have to think too much if you're drafting an Eagle or any Kansas City player. Even I would even go as far as the Dolphins. But I just took Evan Ingram. I didn't have a tight end. I think Ingram is I think you and I, like we talked about yesterday, are very high on Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
And Ingram, he looked like, I remember when he was a rookie, and I was just like, everybody liked him. He had all the intangibles. It was whether he could show up, and I don't think he had the quarterback, the quarterback play to do that. And I think now he has to cover. I think that team is different. Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, the coach, Doug Peterson. I think again, culture is it's where you have to be. We were off before the show. We were talking about the Timberwolves in the NBA and how
just gave that deal to Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, you just don't feel like that's a place that people want to be. There's like nothing, there's no value. Almost,
no,
yeah,
for sure.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers goes. Wow, he was on my queue. I don't know if they were watching our stream or not. Yeah. I do. I know we're getting into later rounds. What round are we in right now? Hold on. I know it's 10. We're in 11th round right now, and I'll be on the clock soon. Right now, actually. I'm not looking at quarterbacks. I think right now we just try to find value. What I'd like to find is like receiver value, like Jonathan Mingo, who I told you I'm really high on the Panthers. They drafted him in the
second round.
Yep, second round.
Right.
They were so excited to get him. It was between him and somebody else. I can't remember who it was, the other guy, but Jonathan Mingo is going to be one of those guys. I want to have I would suggest this to anybody. There's usually like five receivers or 3 running backs usually in every draft where they're rookies, and I would suggest you try to draft 1 or 2 of those guys
for sure.
Ryan's on the clock right now, and I think you just went with.
I took Tyler Algier.
Really early though, yeah.
I know it's a little bit early. I just wanted to solidify my running back position so I don't really have to look at it anymore, especially with a 3 wide receiver draft. Yeah. I was thinking about going Adam Thielen there, but then when you're talking up Mingo and Chark, and it's just like Adam Thielen's kind of like towards the back end of his career. I don't know how many games he's going to play at this point. So I didn't really – I would rather take a potential player. Look, I love Bijan Robinson. I do. But he's very explosive. He's elusive. If anything happens to him, let's not forget, Tyler Algier is a 1,000-yard back.
Yeah.
He was one of the strongest running backs most consistent running backs in fantasy towards the back half of the season last year. And he was running on some very hard run defenses, running really well. And I know it's a little bit early maybe for the 11th round, but I just like the stability at running back position. And I would go over a guy that has, to me, a higher ceiling than Adam Thielen in someone like Tyler Algier.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what's crazy about Algier is like I had him last year, and Cordero Patterson got so much carries still.
He did. He still gets touches at like 97 years old. It's amazing.
But on top of that, Algier still got he still because they run the ball, they're the number one running team in the NFL. You know, that's what happens. You know,
for sure. Now I'm hoping. I don't want to. I got to cross my fingers here. I'm up in about 4 picks.
Yep.
So it would allow me to basically. I have 5 wide receivers, so I don't necessarily need one. But I would like to lock down like Adam Thielen right here.
Pick, yeah.
If he can come, I know I was just talking about him, his age, but Adam Thielen, he's dependable. He's got a high touchdown conversion rate. He knows how to get open in the end zone, and that's extremely important to have that veteran presence for a rookie quarterback like Bryce Young. I hear what you were saying. Like I like the growth and the opportunity that Bryce Young has. There's not much talent around him now, but in a couple of years, this dude is going to be scary.
Yeah, I agree. Bryce Young is actually in my queue. I'm hoping to have him and Watson, you know, just in case he does explode. Ryan's on the clock right now. I think Thielen is available.
He is available, and I'm taking him, so I don't really need to look at wide receiver anymore. I think I'm good.
Yeah, you have 5, Ryan. Oh, I'm on the clock. 1 second. Let me just.
Yeah, I actually have 6 wide receivers.
6. Okay, good.
I had 6 wide receivers and 4 running backs. So I should probably go tight end next.
Oh no. Right. As soon as you said I should go tight end, I clicked.
Well, no, remember, like I don't need a Dalton Schultz because I drafted Waller early.
Absolutely. I completely forgot.
I drafted Waller in the 7th round. So I don't really need a guy as good as it's not that I wouldn't want depth at the position, but I'm not freaking out about that pick. I see that there's a couple tight ends that I'm interested in. I was talking about Greg Dulcich yesterday, and the fact that he gets to be he's with Sean Payton now. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Jimmy Graham. I mentioned that yesterday, but Sean Payton says I like how this guy moves, and he's going to have an opportunity to shine in this offense. So just by Sean Payton saying that alone and his history of coaching tight ends, I like the upside for a guy like Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, I agree. You know what's crazy about underdog? I didn't realize this until now.
Yeah,
is there's no defensive kicker.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's straight.
So how many bench spots do you get? Because I really don't know how.
Get 10. So
10.
This is so because usually you and I draft like this anyways, right?
Right.
You and I wait till the end to do that. So wow. So and I'm starting to think like a good strategy would be like, you know, you want to have like a high upside. You want to have a guy who can show up for you, and then maybe a high upsides on the bench, right? Like
for sure.
Like a Bryce Young, or you know, somebody could just come out of nowhere and just like rip it. Can we talk about how I know it's Kyler Murray, but how is he ranked so low? You know,
because he's about to be on the unemployment line next year. No, I know somebody will invest in him because these number 1 overall picks tend to hang on. They tend to have long careers, even if they're not doing that, you know, that great of a quarterback. I compare it to Alex Smith's situation sometimes. Yeah. These number 1 guys, they hang around, but I can't see Kyler Murray playing another season in Arizona. Maybe with better coaching, maybe if he cared a little bit more and stopped playing video games so often, his teammates would respect him a little bit more. But Arizona probably finishes with the number 1 pick this year.
Wow.
I mean, there's really not that much going on. DeAndre Hopkins wanted out. Don't tell me and you went Ezekiel Elliott.
yeah.
So I got to hear more about this Zeke pick.
I like again, like if my running backs are pretty good, like Saquon, Gibbs, Etienne, Kamara. If they're going to be like they're gonna be consistent all year. I'll get like even if I flex one of them, if Elliott can land a spot like you and I were talking about, like on the Bills or wherever, the Dolphins, you know, we don't know, and he could be their number one or even be like a touchdown hoarder. Then I mean, it'll be a good pick. And I don't know if he's done yet. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think he's done. I'm looking forward to see where he lands. I have 10 seconds to pick. I'm going Dulcich. So I like my stability at tight end right now. I have Darren Waller and Greg Dulcich. We'll have to kind of like wait and see what kind of role he gets in the offense.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that Denver has one of the weakest schedules in fantasy next year. So again, stock up on NFC North players, stock up on AFC West players, especially guys like another play I'll be targeting on Denver is Samaje Perine. I think with Javonte Williams coming off an ACL tear, he could be the starting running back. I've been trying to draft, Samaje Perine and now Greg Dulcich in a lot of these drafts because I think that they have really, really high upside from where you're taking them. I mean, think about it. This is what round are we in? 13th round. Mm-hmm. And you can have a clear cut, possibly top 12 tight end this late. There's still a lot of like gems that are just hanging around the draft. And that's what Guru and I are here for, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the point. Like, I think you and I, especially practicing like drafting like this.
Yeah.
We're getting to see like, I can't believe Aaron Rodgers got reached for like that. But I mean, just like in any league, like you have players who are just going to be like, I don't care. I'm going for it. Like, I'll tell you, wait, your pick 8? Yeah. I mean, I could tell you, but there's a lot of good value. And that's what I'm doing right now. I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm just like queuing up like good value players, like Hunter Renfrow, who just went. I had him on my queue. DJ Chark. I think that's a steal right there for the Panthers. If you do have like,
I mean, you are the Panthers insider, so you would know.
I should do it. Yeah,
you would know.
I'm curious about like players like Chase Claypool, who were like, they had opportunity last year. Even like Alec Pierce, like how do they develop with their team and show up this year with like new coaching? But people like Chase Claypool, do you believe in him still or
no? Absolutely not. I think he's a gadget player. I think he's a one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the fact, like, I like his confidence. He's saying, I am the best receiver in this league, which every wide receiver should feel like they are the best receiver in this league. But realistically, I don't even know if I could put Chase Claypool in my top 100.
It would be hard to do it because at the end of the day, like, does he show up? And he doesn't.
Maybe top 100. Maybe he'll crack the top 100, like towards the 90th ranking. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my last pick. So this fills up my running backs. I got Deontay Foreman in the 14th round.
Just thinking about him, yeah.
I love Deontay Foreman for many reasons, but Chicago, again, NFC North teams. I don't think anybody's really going all in for a guy like Khalil Herbert. I don't think they think that he's going to be the starting running back. Deontay Foreman, especially when it's cold, you need that big body. You need to bruise. And think about it. He has 6 games against weak NFL run defenses in the Packers and the Niners and the Lions. I know the Lions secondary is worse than their front 7, obviously, but he's a guy that's going to get a lot of touches, especially in those November, December months. Big body. I like Deontay Foreman. And I especially like him, on third down goal line situation. He's a guy that I could easily take with confidence late.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I was thinking about him too as well. What's crazy? Oh, Kyler just went. Did he just go? No, I'm not sure. But Kareem Hunt doesn't have a team.
No, think about this. I think we were talking about this earlier. Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, and I think I'm missing one. But they're all free agents.
Yeah.
Like, look what's happening to these running backs. Like, it's amazing to see 4 running backs that have been highly consistent throughout their entire career. Some of them borderline Hall of Famers are sitting in the free agent pool right now and not signed on a team.
Yeah. You know what? Remember Joshua Kelly? I was so high on him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, you know what's a low-key, and this is just an insider for anybody hold on, I'm gonna go with Hunter Renfro here. I think you picked him yesterday.
No,
but
I didn't take Renfro.
Hunter coming off of injury, he's just a good receiver. He's getting up there in age, but Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Garoppolo could only throw so far sometimes.
It's true. I mean, I love Hunter Renfro in all PPR leagues.
Yeah.
But now you got a guy like Devontae Adams that takes a lot of the weight off the other wide receivers.
Yep.
I think I'm on the clock right now. It looks like slim pickings at quarterback, and I have to cross my fingers here and hope. You know what? I'm not gonna go. Yeah, I think he's the best.
Jimmy?
He's the best player available. I need a quarterback.
Yeah.
I went Brock Purdy.
Wow.
So I still like the offense around Brock Purdy. I know that he's coming off of injury, and
is he starting? Do we know yet?
Yeah, he might not start in the beginning, but I've seen I don't have any confidence in Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I know they traded. I think that trade was a huge miss, but it benefits all us, us Dolphin fans, because we were able to flip those picks along with the Laramie Tunsil picks for a whole lot of talent. So I thank San Francisco for thinking so highly of Trey Lance, because the Dolphins were the biggest benefactor in that trade. But I think Brock Purdy, I liked what I saw last year. Before the injuries, it was a tough situation to see him go down, but he looked like he had complete control of that offense. And if I'm sitting and I need a backup quarterback in round 15, I'm not going nuts, because I have a guy like Tua who could be part of a top 10 offense. And 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, there's not much more to make that argument.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of, we're now entering the 16th round, so we have 3 picks left. Just as the overall, I have 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 6 receivers, 2 tight ends. Is there a cap at running back, Ryan? 6, right? Or 7?
Yeah, I think it's 6.
6? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing 6. I see one guy has 8 wide receivers. He's just going ballistic right now at the wide receiver position.
8?
T1 Farm no, Tim Farmer, but this man
he's just like, wow. I mean, he's PPR all
the dog has 8 wide he's got a whole 8 wide receivers. He's got the factory.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going, because there's 3 picks left. Quez Watkins out of the Eagles. I know AJ's there, and Smith, but Quez is looking really good. You remind me of you said, I don't know if no, not Jalen Waddle, but Quez, he's gotten a little bit bigger and stronger this year on top of his speed. So I'm curious to see how they use him. When they run 3 wide receiver sets and Quez is in the game, and Jalen can throw the ball deep. And Quez had a drop last year during the Super Bowl, I believe. It was so bad that if he would have got it, it would have turned the game around too as well.
So you go Quez Watkins. I'm going to take who I think is the best player available right now.
Curtis Samuel?
No. I went Isaiah Hodgins.
Seriously? Wow. Okay.
I thought that, I know that I'm kind of like loading up on wide receivers. I think right now I have 6? I got to see how many wide receivers I have.
Yeah, I have 6 too. Yeah.
I have 7 wide receivers, but then again, you start 3 receivers. You got to expect. I have Odell. I'm not expecting Odell to play like a full season, so I'm happy with 2 tight ends, 7 wide receivers, and 5 running backs. Like I'll be fine with that. If anything, if I need a number one, another number 1 receiver, I'll trade the guy that has 8. You know what I mean? You got to look for those holes in your draft when somebody's drafting too much of one position. Like we play in a family league where our uncle drafts like 5 or 6 tight ends. Love him to death, but at the end of the day, he's screaming for some depth because he just wants to screw everybody and take the tight ends away. But at the end of the day, that's somebody that you could trade because he has an overload of tight ends. But you always want to look in leagues to see, what position of need do your opponents have?
Yeah. I'm trying to find like really interesting picks to, if it is like 7 receivers, it'll probably be good. 5 running backs, two quarterbacks. I don't feel comfortable with Deshaun and Bryce completely. I'll be honest with you, because just in case, there's no. So I think I'm gonna go quarterback here, just in case.
I probably should too, with my starting quarterbacks being Tua and Mr. Petty.
Yeah,
I don't love my quarterbacks. That's easily the weakest part of my team, to be stuck with Brock Purdy and Tua, two guys that could be injured early next season. You never really know. So I'm trying to just kind of like acquire depth just in case I have to make a late trade for a possible quarterback. But I like where my tight ends are. My running backs are solid. I did try to draft Austin Eckler in my defense. This is the first time that we're using this underdog fantasy, so it's a little bit of a new experience for us. But that's what you got to do. Sometimes you have, you got to keep rolling. That when that auto pick hits and that clock is ticking, just don't draft Alshon Jeffrey as your number 1 overall pick, because we've seen
Robert Woods.
You remember that? You remember our good friend Mitchell drafting Alshon Jeffrey as his number 1 overall pick because he had him in the queue?
Yeah, that was a good time.
The queue scares me, dude. Like I get terrified of this queue thing, because I'm like, oh my god, what if I accidentally hit draft? Like I panic.
Are you up next? Oh no, is it me?
No, you are.
Me, yeah. So there's 3 picks left. How many picks are left? 1, 2, actually. So I can't go Curtis Samuel here. I think I have to go. So this is a really sneaky pick, Ryan. Oh, Curtis Samuel just went. So not a lot of people are talking about Hayden Hurst out of Carolina, and I wish I would have thought about this earlier.
Here we go with Carolina again.
This is true. So they got. I'm gonna pick him here, but I know it's 3 tight ends, but sometimes you hit on one of those tight ends and they could carry you far, especially if you have a good depth. But Hayden Hurst, they were really, really excited to get him, and not a lot of people remember this, but that offense relies heavily on the tight end.
For sure.
I'll let you go ahead.
It does.
Thinking about a quarterback.
Yeah, I need a quarterback. I have to take the only starting quarterback pretty much available right now besides Sam Howell. Sam Howell isn't even starting. I took Mac Jones.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
I like what New England is trying to do. I like the addition of Mike Gesicki, because I think New England is going to use Gesicki the way he should have been used his entire career, because nobody uses tight ends better than Bill Belichick. And I think it's a perfect situation for him. I wanted to bring back Gesicki, loved the guy, wanted him drafted here. So it was hard to see him go, but I like the addition that he brings to New England. I like the fact that there's not so many heads trying to call plays anymore. It seems like there's more of a level playing field, and they just re-signed Devontae Parker to a 3-year deal. Don't love Devontae Parker as a former Dolphins fan, but they're trying to build something with Mac Jones, and this could be his last year if he doesn't get it together in New England.
Yeah, it was interesting when he has the ability, and it seems like he has the drive, he has the focus. I think he was really frustrated last year. I don't know what New England was thinking, doing what they did with their offensive. Oh my god, that was just—it's almost as if like Bill doesn't care anymore. What I mean? It's like, and I hope they do something about that, because that was just weird. And Mac is capable. I like the pick.
Not just that, but they also added Juju Smith-Schuster. So you got Smith-Schuster and you got Gesicki to help out that offense and to help out Mac Jones. Just give him more targets to throw to.
Yeah, and hopefully that playbook looks better than it was.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm leaning on. I'm going a quarterback for sure. So I have all these rushing quarterbacks, Deshaun, Bryce Young. So I'm leaning on. If Brock Purdy doesn't start, I think Trey Lance is a good steal. And if you want something like Desmond Ridder, I know he's second year. He looked below average last year. But if they're going to run the ball, I see him getting games too.
I don't even think below average is would. I guess you have no faith in Jimmy Garoppolo, huh?
I don't know.
Ain't no faith.
I don't know what to do with Jimmy there. Yeah.
So I actually love this pick. I have 7 wide receivers, so I'm going to draft Ty Chandler. So I'm reading more and more about Ty Chandler. Obviously, Alexander Madison is getting his first shot in the Minnesota offense as RB1. But they did draft Chandler in the 7th round, and I've been reading a little bit more about him, that they're saying that he could be one of those late sleepers that you could target, because there's no guarantee that Alexander Madison is going to solidify that number 1 role. And if anything happens to him, Chandler could be next in line. And right now I got him in round 18.
Sneaky. I like that.
Thanks.
Did Jamal Williams is the backup for Alvin Kamara?
Yes.
And he went already, right?
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, I mean, if I'm drafting Ty Chandler,
you're right.
I would hope that Jamal Williams is gone.
That would Trey Lance. I think if Brock or him starts, I think they still believe in Trey. I know Brock's shown high, but I was watching a couple news reports. Like, they still believe in Trey. It's not that they're, and I think it comes down to like who's healthy as well. But I still think they believe in Trey.
I see a very interesting player that's on the board right now, and I'm looking at Jake Ferguson. I know we talked about how high we are on Dalton Schultz going to Houston, which it's not. It's kind of hard to be excited about any Texan player except maybe a Dameon Pierce. But I do like Jake Ferguson because if he could step into that role, show some consistency, you know that Dak likes to target the tight end, especially when you have the speed threat in Brandon Cooks. You got the pretty much do-it-all receiver in CeeDee Lamb. He's got to target the middle of the field, and for Jake Ferguson to be sitting now as a starting tight end in round 19, I think he's definitely the best player on the board.
It's a really good pick. I like it. Yeah, wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
There's not many starters like left.
No.
That are in these like 19th rounds. This feels like the longest draft of my life.
I mean, it is 18 rounds, so it's extra 2 rounds. Yeah, so 24 more.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like these. I like breaking down the players because we know that you guys know how to draft in the beginning, but it's those 5th round and later picks that you can't miss on, because those are the things that win the draft. Sure, anybody can make a trade, and sure, anybody could like load up a wide receiver or running back, but we want to give you those tips and tricks, especially for those late round nuggets as we head later into the draft, because that's really how you win, and that's how you'll bring home that first fantasy title.
Absolutely. Which is, I think we're about to conclude. I think we concluded our first ever underdog draft.
Nice.
It seems like they have a good prize too for this one. I can't see exactly. I'll work on, showing the screen better and all these little things. But do you want to kind of go over who we drafted?
Sure.
Yeah. Let me see if I could get my screen.
I'm kind of like looking at your screen just because I wanted to see your pretty face.
Yeah. Oh my god. I've been switching on and off between the screen. Wow, that was an hour draft. Okay. Maybe we could go over it real quickly. Each I'm not going to do a crazy evaluation, but I'll kind of talk into it, and then you could talk about.
So thanks for stealing my quarterback for 2 drafts in a row.
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted Deshaun.
Oh, Deshaun, yeah, you did.
Yeah, because I only drafted Amari Cooper in hopes to get Deshaun Watson. So thanks.
Yeah, it's honestly only drafted him because Aaron Rodgers wasn't there.
Thank you.
Appreciate
that.
I went 3 running backs, 5 running back, 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 receivers, and 3 tight ends. So Deshaun Watson, Bryce Young, Trey Lance. I see a common theme here. Rushing quarterback.
Yes.
You can't really trust him in throwing. Young, high potential. I think if Deshaun Watson gives us anything of like what he had 3 years ago, say 3 years ago, then I think
it's been a while. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you.
Without a dope beat. And now we're going into running backs. I love my running back core. I think.
Wow, they're really cute.
Yeah, I mean, like 3 years ago, this would have been like unreal having Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
And
this looks like, this literally looks like the all 2018 lineup.
But I think Gibbs gives me that youth, and ETN, if he can, like, I mean, that offense speaks for itself. If he can just survive and not
you
just
got ETN in the 5th round, by far my favorite pick of your draft.
Unreal. And
I've never seen him go that low, but again, this is a 3 wide receiver set league, so.
Yeah. What I like about underdog is that they put where you picked them. I like that. Because it shows you that I had at the time only 2 receivers, AJ Brown and Calvin Ridley then.
Right.
And that was scary. So if I ever do something like that, do like 3 running backs in a sense, I need to have a good plan of who this slot or even, this receiver is going to be,
yes.
Just for anybody else too as well. But I love my starting receivers, AJ Brown, Calvin Ridley. I don't, not a lot of people are high on, and if I got him in the 3rd round, which is so crazy to me. I think it's right where his value is, a little like on the edge. And then Brandon Cooks, Jonathan Mingo upside. I think it's always important to have like upside on one of your like running backs or your receivers. I think Ryan and I, like, we've learned that throughout the years, that especially if 10 bench spots, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to do that. So far, what do you think? Running back, wide receiver, quarterback?
It's solid. It looks like an early playoff team. I think Calvin Ridley's rising up the draft boards. So you probably when fantasy drafts actually begin, a week before the season starts, you're going to probably see Calvin Ridley fly up anywhere between pick 30 and 40. Right now in many drafts, he's being drafted around the 5th and 6th round, and it's disrespectful because he's going to be the best wide receiver that Trevor Lawrence has played with in his pro career. I mean, this is a guy that averaged 1,400 yards with freaking gimpy Matt Ryan. Yeah. Like, let's be real here. Like, Calvin Ridley is a baller. He's a guy that could just step off. It might take him a little while. Like, he might not flash in the beginning, but definitely one of the best number 1 wide receivers in the league. I think it's hard to argue that you can say that maybe only 3 or 4 wide receivers in the entire league run better routes than Calvin Ridley. I mean, this guy is just he's the man on the field.
Yeah, I think more I think that's a good point. The closer we get to the season, the reality is going to sink in where it's like, oh, he is him, right?
Your tight end depth is disgusting, actually. I love the fact that you have Dalton Schultz as your backup tight end, which is really, really cool. I wouldn't be surprised if you start him early and often, because that, having a rookie quarterback in Houston, looking for that veteran tight end, right, receiver presence. I could see Dalton Schultz as a league winner for many. Evan Ingram is also another guy that he gives you like these splash performances. Like, if you look at his numbers, he might be tight end 7 or 8, because he gives you like these 40-point games, 30-point games. So that he's not really overall consistent, but he will win you some weeks.
Yeah, I agree. What I wanted for this was like having, one solid tight end and then Dalton Schultz. I think he's so undervalued right now, especially how you hype him up, just based on like the storyline and why he took that pay cut, and he left Dallas. And Hayden Hurst, I just believe in that they're going to use him. They're going to use the tight end so much, especially with the young quarterback.
For sure.
Yep. All right. That was my thing.
Oh God, please don't look at my quarterbacks. Please don't look at my quarterbacks.
I have your screen up so we can look at it too. You're in charge of your screen now.
I'm off my screen because I wanted to look at your pretty face.
So I can't even see you. That's just the sad thing about it, is like I'm looking at the other screens. I can't see you. Actually, I can go to the side. Hold on. How can I get to your team? Oh, that was easy. That was so easy. Let me see.
Do you want me to control it? I could do it if you want.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be so much easier, right? Okay. I don't know why they have this little box for everybody's like.
Can you see my screen moving?
Let me add you. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Oh wait, I could probably just go to my. Never mind. All right, so at quarterback, I have Tua. Mm-hmm. I decided to go late quarterback to kind of just add depth to running back and wide receiver. I get it. You know, there's sometimes where you preach don't take quarterback early, and I kind of like stuck to my role on this one. There's a lot of things that I like about Tua heading into this year. The one thing is that mostly that he's been taking jiu-jitsu training courses and working on different ways to improve how he lands to limit concussions for him moving forward. So I like the fact that he's putting the work in to show that, hey, look, I want to be around in this league. I don't want people to think that I'm just going to get sacked, turn into scrambled eggs, and then just quit. Like, Tua is trying to win, and he knows that the window is very limited for him as a quarterback. So I don't mind taking a guy like Tua. His ADP is 91. I took him at 89. So I drafted him right around where he's usually going in drafts.
Yeah, I think unlike my Deshaun Watson pick, yours is so much safer, and he's proven that he is, well, first of all, in that offense, McDonald's offense, and those receivers, like, he will get you. He is going to be a top 10 quarterback if he plays, right?
He will. He will. And I will say this. I love, it's not just Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I love the fact that they went out and they got Braxton Berrios.
Yeah.
They're giving Cedric Wilson another chance, and they also signed Robbie Anderson. He's changed his name like 16 times, probably since we've been drafting. But he will be a deep threat, and he still does that pretty well. So I like the wide receiver talent around Tua. This isn't an offense that's really going to tight end friendly. That's why we let Mike Gesicki go. But yeah, moving on. You know, I don't love my quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, I do see him starting at some point. I don't know if Trey Lance is going to be the guy moving forward, and I don't think they're just going to take the team away from Purdy when he turns healthy. So we'll see. Mac Jones, again, don't love, but I do love the fact that they added Mike Gesicki, Juju Smith-Schuster, so the offense in New England will be better.
I like if you combine both of our quarterbacks, like maybe switch out like one or two of them. I think we both would have more balanced upside and more balanced consistency. Does that make sense?
For sure, I will be looking to improve my quarterback position. Probably not. Wait so
late. Yeah, me too. Because I don't want to rely on Deshaun Watson, bro. Like, I'm get Aaron Rodgers, you know. At least I'll feel comfortable, you know. Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, moving on. And you can tell me how you feel about this as a whole. Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Tyler Algier, and Deontay Foreman. Chris, you can go ahead.
It's scary. What we both look for and this is not your fault. This is just what was available. And if you would have went Eckler, it would have been a different story, right? Like in the
for sure.
So I think this is not where you want to be at if you have a running back team. I love Joe Mixon in this situation. Jonathan Taylor, we like him. He's going to get it done. It's just we talked about the stat of if your team isn't like top 15,
right,
under 10 worst teams, you don't have a good running back. You don't put up stats as a running back. You just don't. Sure. But the good thing about Jonathan Taylor is that he can catch a ball, and he is, if not the best player on that team, next to Michael Pittman if he's healthy, right?
Right. And there's one thing that's guaranteed about Jonathan Taylor. It's that when he's playing the Houston Texans, he will average 40 points per game.
I don't know why.
I mean, any running back that plays Houston, they'll probably average 30 to 40 points. It's like when you play the Chargers, how your guys just break out.
Yeah.
Houston's just one of those teams. And
not anymore though. I think D'Amico. Yeah, we all know D'Amico's.
Yeah, no, D'Amico's trying to build something there and trying to make him a lot stronger. I love Aaron Jones. I've just always been an Aaron Jones guy. I love what he brings. I love his toughness. I wish that he can get more red zone looks. But again, I'm really, really high on the NFC North position players moving forward because they have the weakest schedule for fantasy this year.
Mm-hmm. Who wins that division? The Lions, right?
I would have to say so. Yeah, with Aaron gone
and Gibbs starting.
The thing is, maybe with Aaron Rodgers gone, Kirk Cousins finally says like this is my time.
He could, yeah.
I think Minnesota's still better than Detroit. They just have to prove it on the field. But let's not forget, Aaron Rodgers' last loss as a Packer was to the Lions in Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
like at Lambeau, like Lions.
I think he was crying.
Yeah. His last game as a Packer was against the Lions, and they got beat in a close scoring game. So it's up for grabs right now. I'll give the slight favorite to Minnesota, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Detroit wins that division.
Just to drive your point home about that division and running backs, like it makes me even want to draft Gibbs even more. In that sense,
for sure. I like Gibbs. I like pretty much any starting running back in the NFC North. But yeah, moving forward, just evaluate my wide receivers. I have Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Jahan Dotson, Odell Beckham, Sky Moore, Adam Thielen, and Isaiah Hodgins.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, my favorite, because I wasn't able to draft Austin Eckler, it kind of auto picked Stephon Diggs for me. I don't hate it because I love what Stephon Diggs has, a consistency that he's brought since he's been a Buffalo Bill with Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen is his guy. There's a lot of things that are happening, like behind closed doors, that there are some problems there, which worries me a little bit, but. Josh knows that he has to get the ball in his hands, of 13 to win games.
He's still elite. Diggs is still elite, and he's top 3, top 5, top 6, I think, in mostly everything. Yeah, it's not bad. What's your second receiver before
Amari Cooper?
Got it. Okay. Jahan Dotson. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow. I like Dotson. He proved, like, throughout the year he just improved. It's crazy.
He did. He led the team in touchdowns in only his second year. I like his upside. I like the fact that he's one of the highest targeted wide receivers in the red zone. There's a lot to like about Jahan Dotson. There's just not a lot to like about the Washington offense as a whole.
Yeah. I
love his Isaiah Hodgins, by the way. I think that he's a sneaky pick, especially with Richie James gone. Yeah, Kadarius. I like those guys. I like those high upside guys with Kadarius Toney, with Isaiah Hodgins. Hodgins was a top 15 play in fantasy playoff week, and I know a lot of people were saying Daniel Jones doesn't even throw for many yards, but when you give Daniel Jones a favorable schedule, he will eat.
Yeah.
So overall. And at tight end, moving on, I like my tight ends. I have Darren Waller and Greg Dulcich.
Solid.
I feel like I could, have some stability at the position with Darren Waller, but we don't really know how many games he's going to play. That's the biggest scare. But think about it: new team, new contract. He's probably more motivated than ever.
Yeah, and Dable is such a good coach. Like you could trust him with any babies, any kind of baby.
For sure.
All right, that was good.
If I had to rate I think you did better than me.
I would say.
I think I had the edge on you yesterday, but I think you got me today.
Definitely had the edge yesterday. I was panicking yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I got value at almost every area. And I think overall, I think where you got me in this today was our quarterbacks. I don't have enough consistency. I think I can't prove that. I think my running backs, my receivers were solid. But you had a safer quarterback.
I'd probably rate my draft, I would say maybe an 85 out of 100.
Nice. Yeah, I would say me too. 85.
I'd give you like an 87, 88.
Okay. Yeah. I think what I could improve on, and this is for anybody else listening to as well.
Yeah.
Is like when there was a certain area around. Again, it's always the same, like 7 to 10, where it's like you really have to maximize your picks here. And based on what other people are picking, like for example, Aaron Rodgers threw me off for my quarterback because I was like, oh wait, that was supposed to be my like safe Watson and Aaron kind of thing. So I think when it gets to the middle, and that's every story, every single time for drafting for us, is like if you could win the 7 to 10 or 7 to 11, the middle rounds, you'll be fine. Because ain't nobody know. After like 12 with 14, like there's just you're reaching and you can't really grade that yet. You have to wait for the season to start. Yeah.
For sure. I agree. I think that, you know, over the course of these mock drafts, we'll even admit our mistakes where we could have drafted better, because there's still time. Like, nobody's starting their season tomorrow. This is the time where you get better. You look at the board. Like we said before, this is the first time that we're on StreamYard doing a live draft. Like, we paid to be in this draft to show you guys, you know, and help out the community and to show what not to do. Like, we want to help you out, but we also want to show you that mistakes could be made. Yeah. And this is something that, you know, we'll continue to grow on, and, you know, just stay tuned with us. We got a whole and heck of a lot more coming up.
Absolutely. And, you know, our motto is like, we want you to win the draft. We want you to win the season. We want you to win the playoffs. And the only way you could do that is win by committee, because I can't do it by myself. I could only store so much information. And Ryan, as you saw during the live, that Ryan has a lot in his head, and that's so helpful. And I think that's what made us, you know, that's why we started the committees for that, because we use both of our minds, and now we can use your minds too. Leave comments, and as we grow this channel.
Yes, please hit the comments. If you have any questions, let us know. We will respond as soon as we can, and we're looking forward to doing many more drafts with the community. So maybe at some point we can create our own draft lobby and have some of you join us, so we could all, you know, mock together as a community. And yeah, just getting ready, getting closer. Just wanted to wish everybody once again a happy 4th of July. And stay safe. Don't light fireworks on its side. And yeah, like I've seen so many videos of these kids just lighting fireworks on the side and just shooting throughout the whole neighborhood. Just be careful out there. Be safe, and enjoy your holiday.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.